Hey guys, Coach Bricks,
Coach James.
the Game Changers. I want to talk about all these recovery tools, all right, that everybody's so hyped up on. First of all, the reason you need recovery tools is because you don't move your body correctly. The body naturally, okay, with every activity, with every walking, with every running, sprinting practices, whatever you do, inflames. It's a natural process. It has to happen. Okay, this is the body's way of getting rid of toxins, okay, getting itself ready to push stuff out. So inflammation is not a bad thing if it's excreted quickly out. And that chronic inflammation is where we have a lot of problems, and that's for a whole other topic. But inflammation is great. Here's the issue though. Everybody's so quick to run to these so-called newfangled recovery things, such as compression boots. And you see all these training facilities bring these things out. Oh, I need this, oh, I feel so great. If you're hurting and you don't feel good, there's something else wrong. Okay? Your nutrition's off. Nobody talks about that probably with most of the kids that they work with. Your sleeping's off, or your movement pattern's off, or all three. Most likely all three when we deal with most athletes and most people in general. Most people hurt not because of what they do per se of the work they do. It's how they move. If I move incorrectly, I'm gonna hurt. I'm gonna inflame, and I'm gonna be hurting longer. That's why I see all these athletes who go to these places, and I see them sitting in the chairs after they're done with these boots on or on their arm. I'm like, what the hell's going on? What is going on in our society that we cannot teach an athlete of how to recover properly? How did we do it 20, 30 years ago? How we have Nolan Ryan and guys like that who pitched all the time. How did they recover so quickly? Yet guys of today, we have all this technology, all this stuff, can't pitch like those guys did. Did we ever ask that question? Maybe because we're on the wrong path, we're going down the wrong way. And I know the strength and conditioning industry always is looking for the new gadget. And every training firm wants the new gadget. And every parent wants the new gadget. Maybe we need to go back to the basics and actually teach people how to actually move, how to eat right, how to sleep, how to actually recover properly. Maybe that's what we're missing. I talk about this all the time. This is the biggest problem in strength and conditioning. I think it's a phony industry right now because we're selling stuff that isn't how the human body actually moves or walks or does anything. It's crazy what I'm seeing. And trust me, I was bought into some of this stuff. Okay, I never got into the recovery cuffs. It just didn't make sense to me. But a lot of the other things. And the more I'm into it, the more I'm just like baffled by what we're teaching and how we're going about it. And if we keep going down this path, you're gonna have kids that are in their 20s that are gonna be like crippled. And I mean crippled by, they don't know how to actually recover without some kind of gadget. Everybody talks about LeBron James, right? He's still playing, he's 4 years old. He spends $2 million on his recovery. $2 million. How many people have $2 million to spend on that? That's the only reason he's still playing, because he moves incorrectly, okay? His movement patterns are just horrible, but he has all this money to spend to make sure that he can at least manage himself through a season. But we see what he does, and then we're like, oh yeah, it must work. Does it really work? Does it? Spending $2 million to get my body to do what it's supposed to do? If I move correctly, I shouldn't have these issues. And don't tell me age has something to do with it, or the amount of sports that you're playing. If you're playing that much and your body's so broken down, then maybe you need to look at, I'm playing too much and I'm playing on too many teams, or I'm playing too much over a weekend, which is a whole topic unto itself. But this is the area that we're going down. We're going down this path that I honestly, with AI and all this other kind of crazy fangled things that are going on, I don't know if we're human anymore. I really don't. And I don't know if we're teaching athletes of how to actually recover properly. Sleep is number one. Number one. Numero uno. Are we harping on these kids to get the sleep they need? The 8 hours. Are you? Because if you're not as a trainer, then you're not doing your job. Are you harping on your kids to eat better? Now, granted, you can't be with them, so you have no idea, but are you harping on them? Hey, this is how you're gonna have to recover. You have to take this in. Are you harping on their hydration and not telling you, hey, just drink water? Because that's crap. It's trash. It's not hydrating you. You need something else. And I talk about this, so if you haven't seen my hydration videos, Coach James on Hydrated, then go look them up. We need to start getting back to basics. Stop being sold on these fancy gadgets that think they're doing something for you. Like I said, if you need that stuff, then you're not understanding how the human body works. And then you're so disconnected from the spirit, the mind, and the body. You're so disconnected in that phrase. That's how you actually stay in holistic state and actually recover quickly, and how you recover right. And the inflammation you can push out quickly. It's a fact. It's how you understand how your body is. I don't need any of that stuff. I work hard. I do all this stuff throughout the day. I don't need all these fancy type of things. I go and I take the right nutrition. I take a supplement where I need it, okay, if I'm deficient somewhere. Sleep, okay, I do all the things that I need. But yet I see these kids who only play a sport, they don't have any other job, right? Are sitting there, like I said, with these compression boots on, with this fangled on, with that, and I'm like, wow, we are so lost. We have done it now in the medical industry and in the strength and conditioning. We have taken away how to get people to really understand their bodies. No wonder the medical industry loves it, because they're making billions of dollars off of us. Making billions off these kids being hurt left and right. These kids who can't do certain things. They need to go see a doctor because their shoulder hurts or their arm hurts or their elbow hurts. Well, they just need to get more compression boots, I guess, on, or compression sleeves or something. It's ridiculous. We need to start changing and going back to teaching people how to understand their body, who they really are. Because once you understand this and understand what hurts and why it hurts and how you can rectify it and fix it yourself, life's beautiful. It's what I had to do. It's what I try to teach the athletes in here. This is what you need to do to maintain what you have. This is what you need to do to make sure you recover. You don't need all this crazy stuff. I don't need it. What's it for? If I need to get rid of inflammation, my number one way, it's the number one way, if you have inflammation, go take a walk, move. That's all it is. Simple as that. Simple as that. You're sore from a workout the day before, get up, go for a walk. A nice fast walk, but move. That's it. Guarantee you flush yourself out. Or do pogo hops. Get the lymphatic system working. I don't need to sit there with some fangled thing on my leg or something. Because like I said, you're just wasting your time. You're teaching your body to be lazy, not understand how to get rid of the inflammation itself. That's what you should be teaching it. If you have chronic inflammation, totally different story. Then you need to seek some help, all right, or why you have chronic inflammation, okay? Is it overuse? Is it something that your body just does not like that you have inside your house? Some kind of chemical, whatever. That's a whole other issue. But this stuff that people do, and they go do a workout, then they need to sit in a chair to recover. Really, you're working that hard? I've seen farmers who work 8 hours a day, bust their ass in the heat, don't sit in those things. And they get up the very next day, fine, ready to go. Very interesting. What's your take on it, Coach James?
I think the biggest thing that, outside of a lot of the points you made, that we try and help our athletes understand here is understanding their bodies and giving them the tools that when they have that issue come up, whether they're at college, they're off, a couple of our athletes overseas playing soccer, whatever, that they know from what we've shown them in here, if something comes up, hey, I remember Coach Bricks, Coach James showed me that, let me do that, and let me make that a part of my routine. We have our athletes that we've shown and we've told them, hey, every time you come in, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do these three things that are a part of your warm-up every time you come in. And they do it every single time, and they don't have a problem. And helping them understand why they're hurting and giving them that knowledge that they can take on their own so that they're not having to use a lot of those gimmicks. Because then they start to understand that, well, I just did these 3 stretches and I fixed everything. I feel better. I feel looser, whatever it is. And it clicks with them that I don't need all this fancy stuff, and I just need like 3 things, a band, and just being able to do certain stretches, and it corrects what they would come in with, whether tight quad, hamstring, whatever it might have been. And it fixes those issues in the moment where they feel better, but then it's telling them and having them understand that it's not just only when you're coming in here, only when we see you. It has to be a daily thing that you're on your own doing those kind of exercises so that those problems don't reoccur. And then again, like you mentioned, it's not just understanding those aspects, understanding, okay, well, I'm hurting. Why is the reason? Is it because I played 5 games in a day, which again, like you had mentioned, is a whole other topic that we've touched on briefly. That's just absurd that we're having athletes play 5, 6, 7 games in a day, and who knows how many games in a weekend. And asking these players to pitch, throw, run, whatever it might be, and they're sore, they're overusing their bodies, they're overtraining, all these other things. And coaches and a lot of these parents and just the strength community, they don't understand that playing all these extra games just because you want your kid to be seen, it's not worth it. And helping the kids understand that hey, your body's hurt, probably shouldn't go play in your game over the weekend unless you want to come back here and we're back to square one. We got you this much better. If you go play, you have to understand that if you're going and playing and we only got you 3 steps forward, you're probably going to take 5 steps back, and we're going to see you next week after your tournament or whatever, and we're going to be back to square one. And that cycle just repeats. But if you can understand those principles of, oh, I actually need to give my body a break and do these things in here and while I'm at home, they come back and they're like, I feel great, and I played a whole week of practice and I felt great, and then I played my first week in a full tournament and didn't have any problems. Helping them understand all those little things that play a bigger part in a whole bigger scheme.
Yeah, and it's key because if your trainer is like, that's what their main focus is, like, hey, as soon as you're done, go get this on, you got to ask them, maybe they're not teaching you how to use the body. And that's one of the things that I've really looked into over the last 3 years, is how to understand how this body works, why it was given to us by God, and what we can do to make it better each and every day. It should not wear out like it wears out today. Athletes should not need all these gimmicks to get themselves to recover. So if they're not teaching you that, then maybe they really don't understand the human body. Maybe they're just taking stuff that they learned in so-called college, and we all know that, trust me, college is not teaching you everything, that they don't really understand that part of it. And that's one of the key components of understanding how to actually make a better athlete. It's not all the size of them or how much weight I can throw on somebody, and I'll talk about that later on. It's about how to get them to understand how to make their bodies more efficient. How to take what they have, their God-given talent, and turn it into maximize it up here. That includes the recovery process naturally. All right, just like if I want to get healthy, I do natural things. I don't take supplemental drugs because that's not the natural way of how it was meant. So reach out with questions. I love to hear this. I love to hear this because I know a lot of you actually do this stuff, and don't hide behind that you don't. Just own up to it. Tell me why you do it. Okay? Tell me why you don't understand how the body works. Tell me why you do it this way. What's the reasoning behind it? Because I would love to hear it so we can have some discussions about it. This is Coach Bricks.
Coach James.
Game Changers.